Oh.
And what I'll do is, of course, you know I can edit anything out, right?
Yeah.
Like me pushing buttons.
Be pushing buttons all the time, pretty much.
See, look.
Huh? Here we are.
So you can see the trailer back there. And Joyce and I, say hi, Joyce.
Hi.
We are off on the first short leg of a very long trip that round trip might encompass maybe 5,000 miles. We'll find out. Gas is about $4.50 a gallon, so that's going to make things so much more interesting. And the fact that I lose about 40% of the gas mileage towing. It's still 12 miles per gallon, which is pretty good by some standards, but it's a lot of money. This will take us really to my daughter and her family in Watervliet, New York. It's near the Troy-Albany area. And from there, it'll be a takeoff point west through New York and across the northern border of the United States, out as far maybe as Montana. So some places we've been before, and some places will be new to us, even though we've been to, every continental U.S. state and a bunch of Canadian provinces. So, Joyce, have you anything to add to this?
Well, I hope the weather is good. That's all. That's all.
Yeah. Well, I know we're looking to some rain over the next couple of days, but we'll be at our daughter's.
Yeah.
And after that, it looks clear, and actually the weather looks rather cool, which is what we prefer. 50s at night and 60s during the day for a good part of the trip. So we'll see you down the road.
Bye.
Well, we are off on a long trip. First leg headed towards Danielle's right now. First stop, Dunkin' Donuts, land of the fast service and the mediocre coffee. See you. We left Danielle's and we're out on 90, which is a couple 100-mile road.
There's construction ahead.
That goes to Buffalo. We'll be staying there in a few hours. And we waited an extra day at Danielle's, so now it is Memorial Day weekend. And so far, traffic is not only minimal, but it's almost non-existent. So waiting that extra amount of time was probably worth it.
Okay. Hi.
Let me turn that off so we don't talk through the car.
Yeah.
Well, after about 3.5 hours, we have ended up at our first stop. And our first stop, ironically, happens to be urban boondocking. We are at a Cracker Barrel. And it is, about 3 o'clock. And we'll break camp here. And our trip tomorrow is much longer. We need to cut across a section of Canada over to Michigan. So early stop tonight, and we'll probably eat or get some takeout from Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. I like takeout better.
This is a very nice Cracker Barrel. When we stop at these or any place like a truck stop or whatever, we always do a Google search and then look at it with satellite view. And it's got a really big parking lot with an area out back that's quite large. It has truck slots, and then it has double parking areas for someone who has a small pull through like we do. And they're generally safe and friendly.
Yep.
Thank you, Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, thank you,
Appreciate
Cracker
it.
Barrel.
In an age where other people are eliminating this sort of thing, you embrace it. Much appreciated. So let's go open up.
Yep.
If you've never been to a Cracker Barrel, they're all usually pretty standard, pretty nice. The food is good, and it's like any chain thing. You go from one to the other, and you won't think, well, this one's good or this one's bad. They're like identical. And since the menu is tall and long, I'll use vertical format. Here's the cover. They're famous for their chicken, I guess. Right now, they're having some campfire specials. This is a breakfast skillet, which is available, at any time. Looks like it eggs, bacon, home fries, sausage, things like that. Here's a half chicken. The cost of that is $16.49. This is campfire beef. You can see the stuff comes with corn and carrots and tomatoes, and I know what that is, radishes. Their standard stuff is, chicken and pork chops and turkey, hot turkey dinners and things like that. And what they call their country meals, different chicken and steak sort of things. And they do have some seafood, but being from Maine, it doesn't quite cut it. We're talking catfish and trout and shrimp. When you think seafood, I think haddock and Maine clams and scallops. And they do serve breakfast all day, and they do have a breakfast menu. This is just a little sampler of it. Here we are in a Cracker Barrel parking lot. There are a couple of other campers, some vans who have pulled up in the slots not too far from us. Joyce is reading. I'm currently editing the first part of this video. And the sun is about to set. And it's cooling off nicely. A quick stop at Tim Hortons just outside of Rochester before we head to the Canadian border to cut across to Michigan. We'll be staying, I think, at a municipal park in Ingersoll, Canada today. So we gotta make sure we gas up before we get there. And of course, gotta have the coffee. So Joyce, you're on.
Oh, hi. Oh, well, it's been pretty good so far. Yep.
73 degrees out, gonna hit in the 80s today.
Yeah.
But it looks like we don't have any rain for at least 7 days.
Yep, that's true.
And it will cool off in a couple days a little bit, which is good.
Yep.
So we should pack up and head out, right?
Yeah, right.
See you in Canada. And we're coming up on the Canadian border in a few miles at the Niagara Falls area. So we just have to get through that, cross for a couple hours through Canada, and we'll be in Michigan. But we're making a stop, hopefully, in Ingersoll, Canada. There's a municipal park. It's supposed to be pretty nice, and I think we'll stay there, and it's not very expensive. We are at Centennial Park, which is a municipal campground run by the town of Ingersoll. It's a pretty little place, only 6 sites, 15 amps, electricity, a few trees. And here we are parked in one of them. The price is about $30 with the exchange rate, so not too bad for Canada. Joyce has had a long ride and is reading. There is one other camper way down there and a tent. The trip really starts when we get to Michigan. We're going to go up the east side of it along the coast, and then when we get to the Upper Peninsula, there should be a lot of public land to be able to park on, which is a good thing because Michigan has some of the most expensive campsites in the country that we've experienced, between their park entrance fee and campsite itself. They start at $45, $50. The state park areas are numerous, and they are generally very, very nice. So I guess there's a trade-off there. They charge a lot, but they do a good job as a result because they probably have the resources to be able to do a good job. We're thinking that we won't really have any trouble getting into any parks this time of year, and again in the fall, after Labor Day weekend. We usually are able to drive up and get a spot. If this were July, you'd probably have to book weeks or months ahead of time in order to get some of these state parks. But if you want to stay in the state facility in kind of the off season, before school ends and then after it starts, and are able to do that, you can have some really good luck. And of course, the boondocking is almost always easy to get into. It rarely is that full, and usually there's no one there. And I have an app called iOverlander, which shows all of the parks and all of the BLM area and boondocking areas, and even pullouts that people normally wouldn't think of as a camping site, or rest stops, or carpooling parking lots, all kinds of things. And there are comments of people who stayed there and what it was like. They often will post pictures, and it's a good app in order to be able to find free camping. Now, before I get a ton of comments, yes, I know, for those people who have used iOverlander, the old original free version was very good, very useful, and easy to use. The newer paid version has a few more limitations that you have to work around, and it's a little harder to use, but it still does the same thing in the long run. So it's very useful to me. But if you can save $25 to $35 or $40 an evening each night, that sort of has the effect of compensating for some of the gas prices. And sometimes
Some of those areas are nicer and more spectacular than any state park or even federal parks are. We stayed in some magnificent places that were just off the beaten path and very few people knew about or bothered with.
Yes, I will spare you, but dinner was lo mein from a can, taco chips, and bread and butter pickles. We usually do much better, but this was fine for tonight.
Well, I made reservations to Lakeshore State Park in Michigan. It's going to be about 3.5 hours away. None of them are inexpensive in Michigan, but it's what you got to put up with when there's not a whole lot of boondocking options. And you know, I don't want to be staying at truck stops and Cracker Barrels and roadside stops for the whole trip. So we'll stay. And the campground looks really, really nice, as most Michigan State Park campgrounds are. And we'll do one night there, and then we'll move on up the coast for a ways before heading to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Matthew McConaughey in The Gentleman. I wonder if it's any good. Good night. Well, we're at the border crossing to get back into the United States at Michigan. But we've been held up here quite a while. There are 3 lanes. This is the car lane. And we've been here about 20 minutes. People are walking around out there. So I don't know what's up. I don't know when we're going to get moving. We're slowly moving ahead now, but boy, it's been a minute. Joyce and I are here at Lakeport State Park on Lake Huron. And just like Lake Michigan, it might as well be an ocean. And you really can't tell it isn't, because probably less waves most of the time, and the water isn't salty. But it sure is beautiful. Well, good morning from Lakeport, Michigan. Say good morning, Joyce.
Good morning.
Temperature was 50 this morning, and in about 10 minutes, it's climbed a little bit, but the temperature inside is 60 right now. So the heater is working good. The diesel heater is the newest addition to the camper, and I'm glad to see that it is really working well. So, as you saw, yeah, I just turned it on.
Okay.
As you saw, we have eggs, we have fried potatoes with onions. One thing you didn't see was we bought some bacon and nuked it for a little while, so we have 3 slices of that. And we had the Hamburg rolls in the package we had left from having hamburgers last night. So those are our toast. And of course, percolated coffee. Not exactly cowboy coffee because it's not, no grounds, it's actually percolated. It's pretty good that way. So,
Yeah.
bon appetit.
Yeah. Hi. See, I'm up.
So we are about to leave to go to Port Crescent State Park, and then backtrack a little bit to Port Austin, where we understand there is the largest farmers market in the state. We'll be laying over a couple of days because we have to wait until Saturday. That's the day the farmers market starts.